strong people, Beck here from StartingStrongman.com, and today I'm going to be breaking down what went on at the official Strongman Games with my own thoughts, opinions, insight, and critiques. If you like what I do, go to patreon.com/StartingStrongman to become a supporting member so I can keep making mediocre videos for everyone. Anyways, just a little background on the official Strongman Games. This is its second year. It's put on by Lynn Morehouse of Train Strongman and everyone else involved. It's affiliated, it's the official Strongman Games, so it's affiliated with officialstrongman.com, which is pretty much ran by the same people that run Giants Live, etc. You got Darren Sadler. I think Eddie Hall has some sort of affiliation with it. Colin Bryce, etc., etc. So, and it's a very cool thing. Basically, gave away, it was up for grabs, was the 8 world titles that are officially licensed by. They're able to use World's Strongest Woman, World's Strongest Man officially for every weight class other than the one you're used to, the heavyweight men. That's already a thing. That's already on TV, and it's done differently, but there's always been various world championships for all of these, for this one, like there'll be this 90 kilo world championship over here, there'll be this one, but this is the official world championship. World's Strongest Man, for the various weight classes, World's Strongest Master, World's Strongest Woman Master, World's Strongest Woman for the various weight classes, etc. So it's a big step in the sport, and there's definitely, while nothing is perfect, I think this is a huge step forward in Strongman. There's some amazing performances. The events are really cool. We had what did we have? We had a deadlift ladder, similar to how they've done clean and jerk ladders, etc. at the CrossFit Games, and it was visually cool. And that's something that I think with, a contest that has 200 plus competitors, which there's becoming more and more of those at big level contests in the United States. And a lot of places have started, because it's very hard to run 200 to 300 people through a contest. And, there's positives and negatives to doing it either way. But what this does is at a world level event, at a special event, it should matter what the events look like, right? So all of these events seem to, they're all visually appealing. It wasn't just a standard bar deadlift. They did a deadlift ladder, which is more exciting to watch for a crowd, and just when, people share the videos on social media later. So we had a, deadlift ladder, sandbag over bar. 5 lanes of sandbag over bar with, 4 sandbags apiece. And then for all the different weight classes, there's so many sandbags that Cerberus provided. That's not easy to set up. An overhead medley, a wheelbarrow medley, a yoke and a sandbag carry, and an Atlas stone series with 6 stones and, with 6 stones. So it was cool events, well thought out. Definitely, I'm sick of seeing just a straight yoke, especially at these bigger contests, because then someone ends up winning by 1/10 of a second. Doing the yoke and the sandbag carry really, it separates everyone a little bit. There's more room for error. There's more strategy involved. You have to be more technical. Are you going to pick up the yoke more? Or, are you going to put your yoke height lower so you have to pick it up more, and that's not an optimal position to carry the yoke, but then it's easier to put the sandbag over the bar. Are you going to spend more time picking up the sandbag to get it on your shoulder or to get it higher in, or are you going to reset when you get there? You have to be more proficient at 2 events, so just doing stuff like that, adding more the medley aspect, it just makes it a better contest, in my opinion, and just separates everyone more versus this guy did the yoke in 7.2 seconds and this one 7.4. That all looks the same if you're watching it. And it's really hard to gauge who's in first and who's in second, etc. So I think the events were done very well. The wheelbarrows looked like they took a beating. Sandbag throw was cool. I know it's hard to set different yoke heights for everyone. I'm sure having Lynn on the podcast before, he ran all the numbers as far as how long an event would take. So the yoke, setting the yoke height for that many different people is probably why it was on day 2. But the one criticism I give of the sandbag throw, well, you have those huge Cerberus banners and all the sandbags, is doing 5 lanes of it looked a little chaotic and was hard to follow who's doing it faster. And it's such a visually appealing event. I think having that as a day 3 event with 2 people going at the same time would have been really cool. But I'm sure that there's reasonings for that. What else? The overhead looked good. The one thing on the deadlift is, I know people weren't supposed to drop it at the top, and just there's some judging discrepancies. I saw a few drop deadlifts, a few questionable lockouts. Same on the overhead. You're supposed to control it down. Not everyone did that, but those are small criticisms. And when there's 5 lanes of judges with that many people, those are going to happen. But at a world level event, judging should probably be a little more strict. Going to go through each division. I'm just going to focus on. I just have the spreadsheet in front of me. All this, you can go watch the videos. They should be up at officialstrongman.com, and they have. You have to be a paying member, and you should pay the $9.99 because you get the live stream was fantastic. It buffered a couple times. Sunday morning, there was like 3-4 glitches over 3 days of pretty much all day competition, which that's pretty good. It looked very well done. The one thing that could be improved, Aaron West was the MC on the floor, and they just mic'd that into the live stream. He does a fantastic job. He's one of, if not the best MC in the business, in my opinion. But I still believe that that there should be a 2-person team for live streams, doing separate commentary, really showing the viewer at home, explaining to them who's going on, giving them more background on each athlete as they can, people that really know the athletes, kind of just explaining what happened previously, maybe grabbing some more interviews, just less dead time. Of course, it's very hard to set up. There's not that many people that can do that job very well, especially with this many athletes, and will know at least a basic understanding of all these different athletes and being able to keep track of how each performed in the last events and what's at stake going forward. Just more commentary of that would I think would make the live stream that much better, and the people paying the $9.99 a month, giving them that much more value, and just it'll educate the viewer at home more. That's something that I think really helped the UFC. With Joe Rogan, was able to just kind of break down to the common person, even if they're just casually watching it, what's really going on, and why this person failed, why this person, like little things, why this person did a little better, some of this different strategy involved. I know I appreciate that. I'm for hire. There's other people than me that are good at it, but I think I could do a good job if anyone ever wants me to. Anyways, I'm going to go through who the finalists are, because I have that spreadsheet open in front of me. If you didn't make the finals, sorry. It's just there's a lot of people to cover, and there's separate spreadsheets. After day 2, they cut the field in each division down to the top 10 competitors, and they renormalize the points. And what they do is they basically cut out everyone who didn't advance and then just score how everyone did against each other. And I think this is a pretty good way to renormalize the events and the points and keep it fair. There's some issues with it, but I don't know a better solution. What this does, I think, is it rewards athletes that are more winning events or in the top 3, and then it lessens how how much of an impact having like one bad event, if they still made it, did. Where I had a client who was in 4th after day 2, and then when they renormalized the points, he fell to 8th because he was pretty consistent. He was getting 4th to 8th and got a couple 11ths in there, not winning any events, but not placing 20th in any events. So I think that actually hurt him being consistent. So but overall, I think everyone's placing has stayed roughly the same. Strongman Corporation for the Arnold Amateur has a normalization process. I think the problem with that is it makes the gap of the points so low that you could argue that it makes the final day events mean more. The other option is you just make it like the first couple events were a qualifier and then you start at 0, which I think sucks because then all that matters is making the final day. Then those last 2 events matter too much comparatively. So what's the right way to do it? I don't know. It's just something worth talking about and bringing to light if people aren't aware. Anyways, in the 64 kilogram women, there was some, I think their last deadlift was around 455, 405. It didn't show the weights here. I probably should have pulled that up. But out of the finalists, looks like pretty much all of them got all 4. Rhian Lovelace of England won that event in, I think, the fastest time of every class, with doing it in 15.21 seconds. Just over 2 seconds off was my online client, Alyssa Anderson. And, Rhian, sorry if I'm saying her name wrong, she really, I think she got like 9th or 10th last year. Same with Alyssa. She got just outside making the finals last year. And both of them, if you've been watching social media, have been absolutely crushing their training. And it showed as they end up taking 1st and 2nd overall. Rhian winning the event ended up with, I think, winning half the events, and with 52 out of 60 possible points, followed by Alyssa Anderson in 2nd with 44, and then Jessica Thieker with 39, Laura Anderson with 35, returning last year's champion Christina Bangma fought back with 34. Leah Falcone, it's her first strongman contest ever. She never competed. She's married to Dan Falcone, a very good strongman competitor. I think she has an Olympic lifting background. She was in 6th, just 2 points behind Christina Bangma for her first contest ever, against 6th at World's Strongest Woman. Is pretty incredible. Katie Dundas ended up taking 7th, Christine Boulay in 7th, Daphne Zhang 9th, Ashley Muncie rounded out the top 10 in 10th. Very, very good performances. Jessica Thieker and Christina Bangma really fought their way back after like the first 2 events and just showed their experience, just creeping back in the whole contest. But Alyssa and Rhian, it was their weekend. They both did phenomenal. They're pretty much 1 and 2 from the start, and just kept it there. They just stayed there. Jessica Thieker had a pretty heartbreaking performance on the stones, with one of it rolling off, which might have cost her 2nd place overall. But yeah, last stone, 6 stones was the last one was 250. And something that was impressive is I think barely any competitors in each class last year loaded all 6 stones, and there's a lot of ladies loading all 6. In the Masters women, Julia Schmay looked incredible, winning. I mean, it looked like she was winning every event every time I tuned in. Looking at this, she won the first 3 events, took, I believe, 3rd in the wheelbarrow, 2nd in the yoke and sandbag, and then I think another fourth in the wheelbarrow and fourth in the Atlas Stone Series for 53 out of 60 possible event points. Pretty incredible performance. Jessica Rush, who I think I competed at the Arnold with when she was a lightweight, and she's definitely in middleweight category. Ends up just 4 points off of first place in second, which, you know, and even Kirsty Jarvie, also not the biggest competitor, well, getting third, you know, in open weight category for just 40 plus women. Just shows that just being good at the sport and strong in general helps. And there was a lot more, you know, medleys and mobile events in this, which there's a good mix, which, you know, could help. But, you know, congrats to everyone. Rounding out the rest of the field, in fourth, Lisa Cornella, in fifth, Lacey Hughes, sixth, Kiki Burl Johnson, seventh, Mara Rosetta's, eighth, seventh, Aaron Ummer, eighth, Phoebe Torres, or ninth, Phoebe Torres, and 10th, Megan Barnett. Sorry, I don't know if I'm going to run through each, but just going to explain maybe just the top three in every category, because this video is already very long. All right, on to the 82 kilogram women, one of the most competitive classes at every high-level show. Letha Engels jumped out in front from the start and pretty much controlled it the whole way. She's won pretty much everything for 82 kilogram women over the past 2-3 years, except last year she took second place to Kim Dirks, and you could tell that she really wanted it this year. Ended up with 57 out of 60 total points. Incredible. Crushed the deadlift in 20 seconds. You know, all 4 sandbags in 10.5 seconds. You know, overhead, just so technical on the overhead. Just there's no wasted movement at all. She's very smart in how she approaches her strongman training, and you can see that she puts a lot of thought into it and is such a technician. And I think that's what really separates her, obviously, other than just being strong, how she trains for the events and being so technical and aware, and just being a good competitor. You know, Hannah Artuge, I think that's how you say her name. Sorry, Hannah, if I got it wrong, got second, and she's improved. I think I met her at the Amateur Nationals last year, and just you watch her videos on Instagram, she just continues to improve and is so hungry and very intense, and ends up taking second overall with 50 points. Sandra Bradley, also known as Sunny from Germany, also very intense. Was in second for most of the time, fell back a little bit on day 2. I think, yeah, she lost a lot of points in the yoke carry. Just, you know, everyone has their events, but very solid performance after winning the Arnold Amateur. The Arnold Amateur World Championships earlier this year in the middleweight. Ahead of Hannah in second, they kind of swapped back, so again, a good little friendly rivalry going on there. Great performance. Rebecca Raleigh also put on a good performance, getting 4th overall, and she had, and that's after like only doing the first 2 implements in the deadlift. But that shows that, you know, just having one at that event, as long as you kick ass in every single other one, you can make up for it. In the open women, this is, you know, it's the world's strongest woman, the strongest woman in the world right here. You knew going into the weekend that it would be an absolute battle between Andrea Thompson, Donna Moore, and Kristen Rhodes. And it did not disappoint, with 1 point separating all 3 of them by the end of the contest. Andrea Thompson ends up winning with 53 points. Congrats on first World's Strongest Woman title. Donna Moore ends up tying with Kristen Rhodes for second, but won on a count back due to event wins, I believe, and Kristen Rhodes in third. Jessica Forthen, as she's now known as. She took fourth in almost every event. I mean, Jessica Fithen with 40 points in a solid fourth place, and really was pesky getting in between some of the top three. I really think this weekend was similar to how World's Strongest Man was for a few years, where there's these three that are clear out in front of everyone. Where that for years that was Brian Shaw, Hafler Bjornsson, and Zurgin Savickas. You knew that was going to be the top three going in, but who's going to get fourth and fifth was always the question. And it ended up being Mike Burke a lot. So Jessica Fithen played the Mike Burke role, just getting in between, and then that person ends up deciding who actually wins a lot. Just getting in between, a point here or there. Absolutely, great performances. Andrea Thompson crushed the deadlift. She's such a good athlete. Kristen Rhodes came back on the overhead to win that. Had some good performances. Won the yoke and the sandbag carry. The wheelbarrow in between all four of those athletes at the end was just such a tight race. With they're all separated by about 5 seconds in a medley like that. That's really close. And just overall, just great performances all around. Brooke Sousa in fifth. And it all came down to the stones, and Donna Moore, I believe, won the stones, being the only woman to load all 6. Well, something I want to mention, quickly go back on the 82 kilogram women. I think only 1 or maybe 2 women, I'd have to go back and check, loaded the 300-pound stone, the last stone, last year, and 3 did it this year. So that just shows how much improvement there's been in strong women. It's just they're getting stronger, like it's crazy every year. And Donna Moore, she loaded the last stone, which was enough to wrap up second for her, but Andrea Thompson just had too much of a lead after Donna got fifth in the yoke and the sandbag carry, which dropped her down in points. I believe the top 5 in that will all be at the Arnold Pro Strong Woman. So that's looking to be a really competitive group as well. And the 80 kilogram men, the lightweight men, it looked like, I'd say most everyone would think the front runners going in would be Nate Green, Richard Stout, which are, they took Richie, took second last year to Castelli, and Nate Green, I believe, was in third. So you would think that they're the front runners. Also put Nicholas Gagnon as someone who, because he's a little bit newer as far as everyone else goes, but he's won amateur nationals last 2 years in a row, and he's very strong and trains damn hard. He ended up in third. I mean, pretty much everyone, did good on the deadlift. Sandbag, most of them got it. Overhead, Nate won that, but I mean, the times are within 4 or 5 seconds of the top. There's some fast times in the wheelbarrow medley with the lightweight men, because they end up being a little fast. Nate almost lost it in on the yoke, getting fourth, and that let Richie come back to make it close. And then in the Atlas Stone, Nate won the tied, and then Nate Green ends up winning the event on count back, but an amazing performance. 90 kilogram, Devin Reese. I didn't watch too much of this, it's hard, but Devin Reese, you have to give him props. Moving up from 80 kilograms and then becoming the best 90 kilogram in the world. Props to you. Keith Cherry ends up in second. Aaron Foundry, after breaking his damn leg in half on a yoke a couple years ago, still did the yoke, and this a 740-pound yoke, I imagine that would have to be terrifying for him, and ends up in third. I know he's very proud of that. Nicholas Myers fourth, Jess Reeve fifth, Andrew Triana in sixth. Great group of guys, and some solid performances. In the 105 kilogram class, Anthony Furman, I know I've heard a lot of it, because he's calling his shots. He's about to be on NBC Titan Games by The Rock. which is put on by The Rock, and it's on NBC, and he's a little loud out there. People like it, they hate it, whatever. But he said he is going to win this contest, and to say that he was the most dominating performance of the weekend, I don't even know how you put it. He won, out of 60 possible points, he had 57. I was going to say it was impressive until he didn't win the stones. And then I was kind of like, it was a mediocre win. But 5 out of 6 event wins. Almost won the stones as well. No one loaded the 6th stone, which I believe was 400 pounds. And you could tell he paced it and was trying to get it, but it was just a little too heavy at the end after a long weekend. Derek Cox of Canada, a solid performance, ends up in 2nd with 42 points. Tyson Morrissey of Australia rounds out 3rd. 105 is one of the most competitive classes. A lot of people will talk about who wasn't there. Doesn't matter. I don't think anyone was beating Anthony this weekend. Be mad at me. It's what I believe. And, if it's a world title and it means a lot to you and you don't want someone else to win it, you got to show up. You already beat everyone who didn't show up when you sign up. That's how that works. Masters men, Ken McClellan is a phenomenal athlete. And I said in my preview video that, there's always these guys that maybe they got into the sport later, but they're still good athletes. Ken is one of those. I think it would be cool to see him at actual World's Strongest Man. He's so damn fast. Like his he won the yoke. His stone loading is incredible. He did all 6 stones to 400 pounds in 36 seconds, and they're high platforms. He ended up beating Vitas Blakaitis, Mark Felix, 50 by a large margin, 9 points and 12 points over them apiece. Vitas in 2nd, Mark Felix in 3rd. Troy Bennett, just half a point off Mark Felix in 4th. Shout out to Mark Bevins for winning the sandbag throw. We all kind of thought he would. In the open weight men, this is a stacked field of everyone who's trying to get that next step. So basically, there's no world title for this class, but what it is it's the top 3 end up qualifying for the Giants Live. And then when you qualify for Giants Live, you can go to that show, and that, if you do good enough, you qualify for World's Strongest Man. So it's a qualifier to get on the qualifying tour. So this is a huge contest. Andrew Clayton was very consistent and ended up edging out Wesley Claiborne. Andrew Clayton won the 105s last year, put on half of his own damn body weight. I think he's around 300 pounds now and looking great. Just very consistent, such a tactician, and just studies the sport. You say a lot about him, but he's damn good at strongman, and puts a lot of thought and effort into it. He's very smart about how to do all this. Ends up with 47 points and the win, and qualifying for probably Giants Live North America, like everyone did, which tends to be in Indiana sometime around June-ish, I think. Wes Claiborne, probably the strongest person that you don't know, who just, if he shows up somewhere, he's so unassuming, but so damn strong, and ends up on the podium wherever he goes, ends up in 2nd. Robert, I think Bobby Thompson, a little bit newer to strongman, but very, very, very strong, ends up in 3rd, also qualifying for Giants Live, wearing his Starting Strongman grip shirt all weekend. Thanks for that, Bobby. You can get one at store.startingstrongman.com. Look great. So strong statically. Lost a little bit in the moving events. Just some solid performances all around. Nick Hadge just off in 4th. I bet he'll get invited to a North American Giants Live Championship, though. That's how these things go. He's just 1 point off. Jacob Fisher 5th. Last year's winner Trey Mitchell in 6th. Justin Fisher in 7th. Evan Singleton 8th. Tyler Cotton 9th. And Zach Hadge in 10th. Awesome show. This is already way too long. Hope you enjoy. You can subscribe to the audio version, Strong Talk Podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts. Subscribe on YouTube. Go to patreon.com/startingstrongman to become a supporting member. Follow me at Let Kalle Lift. Follow Starting Strongman. Everywhere else. And go to officialstrongman.com and sign up. There's a bunch of content on there. They're going to be showing Britain's Strongest Man on there. And if the stream quality is the same as this, it's probably going to be better because they're at home. Then you should definitely check it out. And go to store.startingstrongman.com and for